Hello, everybody, and welcome to DM Writer's Room, a show that almost just made a horrific technical error. It's all good. For those of you who are unaware, in which case, this is a strange stream for you to have turned into.
Yeah, we
Stick
apologize.
around. You're going to learn something about game design, I hope. But boy, howdy, this would be a weird one. We have been working on a D100 horror system. At least we assume it will be D100. We're getting into that today. It spurred off of an idea we had while coming up with a modern Call of Cthulhu RPG adventure, specifically sort of jumping off of one of Spencer's ideas that the Tower, this sort of paramilitary, mysterious squad, was this vital role in the world. We had an idea that that would make for an interesting setting kind of in and of itself, and so we headed in that direction. Over the course of a few streams, we have turned that loose idea into 14 pages of notes, and it is ever increasing as we continue. We now know what it looks like to have a monster, the idea of where a good chunk of them come from, what our characters, our seekers are. We know who the Tower is and how they interact with the Coven and the Library, Hunt, the Homeland Unit of Non-Existential Threats, and a series of other fun and flavorful folk, including our stats, which I like the best. We wanted to stick with the strange kind of knightly energy, that's with a K, of feeling the need to go out and fight the forces of darkness. So our attributes are might, alacrity, constitution, will, knowledge, and glamour. Very much in the style of the kind of personality you need to embrace. My allegory for that, why I think it works, it's like if you ever take the time to meet like a large group of volunteer firefighters, the kinds of people that are like, I'll run into a building that's on fire right now, you will begin to understand the kind of person that wants to run into a building that it is on fire, and it's people who describe themselves as chivalrous. There's certainly an energy there that is embraced. And then we delved a little bit last time into some specific monsters to flush out some other things, but today, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're a big old nerd like me, it's time to start talking about the rules. It's time to start figuring out what makes our game different from all those other games. Why isn't this just a setting? Why isn't this just a hack for something? Why isn't this just Delta Threen, or however you would legally need to change it enough to get past their wildly draconian policies about their product? So we're going to delve into that today, which means I'm going to be asking questions largely centered around what it feels like to play the game. What does it feel like? What is the experience of playing the game like? Michael, what was that?
When you think about what feels like, I have an idea for a name for the game.
Okay. All right.
I think that which looks back.
Ooh.
It's a little weird, a little avant-garde.
Avant-garde, dear brother.
Avant-garde. On-guard. From the don't look into the void because the void looks back at you.
That which looks back is kind of fun, and TWLB isn't that hard to type out on a computer. I do want to say avant-garde being something that you say when you're going to fight somebody with a paintbrush is kind of powerful. All right. So that which looks back is kind of fun. So now the question becomes, what is it like to play this game? In Call of Cthulhu, the experience, what it's like to play that game, is to play a very particular person that is rife with human limitations and improves in small and incremental ways. It is scary. It creates that feeling of horror by having you be very, 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 very easy to kill, and mechanizing what it is like to be exposed to horror through the sanity system. Now, we've already said that the idea of sanity we think doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Your characters are not getting further from reality. That is something that we've been, fun fact, we have balked at here at Foolhardy Press since the very beginning. We have talked in as early as Galaxy Blocker, which was the space setting we came up with for a couple of sessions. We said we had a cult in our system, and we were like, well, no, they're right. So we named our cult the Enlightened because they were correct. And so what we've decided is we liked the idea that your characters had ignorance rather than sanity. And they would be losing their ignorance because, hey, the demons and things are real. This isn't something where you become detached from reality. Everyone else gets to be detached. You become less detached as the game goes on. So that's a pretty big system change already, because it changes a little bit about what that's going to look like, what that's going to feel like, right? It doesn't really make sense for a character losing ignorance to gain neuroses in the way that they do in Call of Cthulhu. So that's a pretty big change. So we can kind of take this step by step so that we don't have to do it all at once right at the beginning, right? So number one, pretty much inevitably, we need to pick a focus for this game, right? Something that you're doing. Call of Cthulhu is very much a mystery investigation game. That is its huge priority. Combat is really quite secondary. Excuse me. Delta Green, the next one we're going to talk about, is is a little bit more balanced. There's a little bit more rootin' and tootin' in Delta Green, although it doesn't usually go well. And when the guns come out, everybody gets scared. There's some version of that in like the front page of the book. That's like when guns come out, everybody shuts up kind of deal. So it's a little bit more balanced. What do we see as the main pillar of this game when you begin to play it? Is it combat with monsters, in which case we've made some poor choices? Is it mystery? Is it like trying to crack the case, sort of like a noir detective? Is it continent spanning epics? We've sort of incidentally done that in our monster prep. Often we describe you having to sort of get off continent to go chase down leads. Is it a truly like up and down horror game? Something like Mothership, where we keep the rules really light because you're going to go through 3 characters per session? What do we think? What are our early favorings? Like, what are you guys just kind of inclined towards there?
I think more akin to noir detective with the continent spanning Indiana Jones style adventure going on. Horror is in it. It's scary. All the things you're going to be faced with are scary, but it's not like Scary Dog made you go crazy. It's like, now you are the person who's going to fight the scary thing. You're going to fight it. Like, you're fighting it. So it being like horrifying, like, come on.
Describing the Call of Cthulhu horror style as Scary Dog make you go crazy I'm getting that on a t-shirt. Like, it's so funny. The thought that it's like you saw Cujo lose sanity is a really strange, like, mechanical way to do that I think is pretty funny. Okay, so you like the thought that it is mostly mystery, but a little bit more maybe dynamic than Call of Cthulhu is.
There's gonna be fights pretty frequently in the style of world we've built. You're fighting Sasquatch, you're fighting Sasquatch's friends, then you're gonna fight in the creepy forest, and then you're gonna fight Idra. Like, there's going to be combat
and then you're going to die.
And then you're gonna die. But that's because the monsters are built to be fought in sequence. It's not one big scary thing that you need to solve the riddle for. It's 3 consecutively larger scary things that you are going to have to fight in combat until you get to 4, and then you're cooked.
And then, yeah, exactly. You can like kind of get up to 4 if you're running a long campaign, and 5 is when it's like, well, you went too. Hey, congratulations, you went too far. You were the guy. You were that guy in the King Kong movie who pops the grenades and walks up to the creature that then whacks him into the side of a cliff. Like, hey man,
that was an insane thing.
Hey man, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. You just aren't.
So good.
Okay.
It's funny. How we built it almost feels like every monster that we've made, the line of it is a module.
Yeah.
And you'd follow that line through, and then that character is done. And then you want to do another module. Here's a new character.
That's how I've been very particularly writing them in our notes pages, for sure. I got carried away on it today. Yes, the start of our Pied Piper cryptid adventure. In the late night hours of Meriton, Arizona, a stranger in ragged clothing stops in a diner, pulling an acoustic guitar, ... Like, it is, exactly, it's like one chapter, second chapter, third chapter. And I think Spencer's right. I think 95% of adventures should end at chapter 3. You get to chapter 3, you glimpse that there is some greater terrible thing, and it's like, well, there's nothing I can do, right? The end of Masks of Nyarlathotep, the most award-winning adventure in the history of tabletop role-playing games for Call of Cthulhu, does not end with you flying a plane into Nyarlathotep and killing him on the top of a pyramid in Egypt, right? You're thwarting things you're trying to stop. A good way, I think, to think of it is if you have gotten to tier 4, it means you failed tier 3.
Yeah.
You failed tier 3, and now tier 4 is happening. Or you couldn't let it go, and you have gone where you should not have gone, right? So most adventures are going to be solid 3-arc structure. We introduction to the threat, a rising trials, insurmountable thing that hopefully you can somehow manage to escape. And then sometimes it'll dabble forwards. I think that's a good way for us to think about, coming up with adventures and stuff for this. Because a lot of games sort of just hand wave that part. They go, you, DM, write a whole mystery novel. What? Write the whole thing. Go ahead. Like Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green both, their books are just like, here's 235 pages of lore, write a book. And then they walk away to go do something else for some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, the other side of what we talked about too, and I think we talked about it on stream a little bit, and then off stream about it again. How and this is more like instead of module based, seeing it as like the whole world, like how I envision Dungeons and Dragons. We talked about how these extra like the tier 4, tier 5s are in opposition of each other's, and how it's just different than just a module. It's like, all right, now we're pulling this into this. These monsters are fighting these.
Yeah, one of the few saving graces that occasionally saves a Lovecraft protagonist is the fact that the Elder Gods don't rock with each other, and so oftentimes you will be able to escape by one of the stories, I cannot remember which is maybe a good thing, because this is a spoiler, literally ends with whatever the poor dipshit detective who's gone too far, or journalist, or whoever it is, like chained up on a mountainside, clearly about to die, and then the old coot who knows too much comes out and starts yelling the names of other Elder Gods until one of them gets mad that their name has been brought up alongside the creature that is being summoned, and like a lightning strike kills the priest that's about to sacrifice the guy. So that is kind of a fun trope of just being like, the girls are fighting, and it is the only thing keeping us from the apocalypse. It's a very good thing. Sort of analogous to Donald Trump and Elon Musk duking it out every 3 weeks. You're like, hey, at least they're fighting. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I do want to pull in, we're getting a little bit too heady here. So what do we want solving the mystery to feel like? Because this can be very different in different games. So in a game like Call of Cthulhu and a lot of mystery games, you put out 1,000 clues, the players only see the clues if they roll well, and you just supply so many that failure is statistically unlikely, right? Like, they're probably going to figure it out, and if they totally fail and they don't figure it out, somebody's going to come along to kill them for investigating, and that's going to be their breakthrough in the case, right? It's sort of another avenue in. In Delta Green, they're pretty specifically like, no, just tell solving the mystery is not the hard part. Like, solving the crime, figuring out what's going on, not the hard part for your characters. It's everything else that sucks. So just give them the clues. When they walk in, tell them what they see. It should be information. It should be enough information. I think that's a little cheap, but I understand why. What are our preferences there? I'll just say mine. I like having to actually be clever as myself. Like, I don't feel the need to be like, well, my character would be better at investigation than me. I want you to give me kind of a fun Rubik's Cube to solve, And if we end up shattering the Rubik's Cube with a hammer, that still feels like winning to me. Like, that's still fun to be like, okay, screw this, we're breaking the cube. And, like, you know, you're investigating a mysterious disappearance on a college campus, and you go, I'm setting fire to the admin building. And everyone goes, what? And you go, we know they had an administrator key tag. We've been talking about it for 2 hours. I pour lighter fluid into a garbage can, and we're just gonna see what the fuck happens. That's something I enjoy, but I know that's not everybody's kind of cup of tea. What are some other thoughts we have swirling around here?
I think that it's most important in the tier 1 section when you're dealing with the Bigfoots of the world. But there's the easiest get out of jail free card in tier 1 as well, which is the monsters are active. Bigfoot is going to kill this guy and make this guy into a Bigfoot and then kill these 3 more people and then get deeper into the town the longer you don't solve the mystery. So like Monster of the Week, the countdown clock, or is that Blades in the Dark?
They both they both use the countdown mechanic in Monster of the Week. I think it's countdown to midnight. Mm-hmm. In Blades in the Dark, I think it's the countdown clock, because I think it's like dusk, twilight, and it goes down through a few.
Mm-hmm. So in my mind, investigation is super important as long as your characters care about getting the good result. If your characters are mercenaries that are just trying to kill Sasquatch, you let the countdown clock go, Bigfoot's going to be on your front door. You're going to deal with the problem, you're going to move forward. So there's always a solution to players not investigating properly, but it is still important to the story that you're investigating.
Okay, so for you, solving the mystery is basically just a way to get the good ending, right? If you delve into it and work to solve it, that is how you prevent there from being more kind of unnecessary casualties. If instead you just wait to kind of bait out the creature, you get results, but it's not a guarantee in any way of good. Like, you're just going to let another terrible thing happen for more information, right?
And I think that'd be a good conflict for characters. The investigator character is going to want to do the investigation. The soldier is going to say, I don't care. We'll just wait it out and then see what happens. I dropped something. Yeah,
this thing strikes once every 3 days. Okay. We're going to wait 2 days. Why? Because then we'll know where it's going. Like, if we have one data point, I need another data point. I'm just going to wait. Versus somebody else who's like, their lives on the line, and like, you're a loose cannon. Like, slamming their fist on the desk full style. Okay, cool. I like that. Do we have any other thoughts about how we want the mystery of it all to feel? We need to now tackle a controversial but common mechanic. If the players get stuck, can they roll intelligence to solve puzzles? Can I be a professional grade A dipshit and go, but you know who isn't? Dr. Ponceval von Rickensburg. I roll knowledge to figure it out. Can you roll knowledge to figure it out?
I vote no, but you can get a hint.
I vote no because it's a skill issue from the keeper and the players. A good GM will just solve that problem. They'll give different hints, they'll add an NPC in, they'll throw more things on in the world to lead them to the solution. Not doing that is just because you're lazy or you're bad at playing games. And that's fine, but I'm not going to write it into the rules that you can make a skill check to solve it. Just get better at running games.
So we write, I've written in my notes, kill your darlings. Like, hey, I know you wanted this to be a slow burn. If they're really not getting it, man, you figure that out. Like, do something. I don't know, have the thing kill again. Like, that's the classic.
Also, beyond that, we've got the countdown clock mechanic. They don't need to solve it. You don't figure it out, more people are going to die, and that's going to feel really bad. You better work on it.
This is funny because my advice I would give to a new DM or to a learning DM is very different than what I would say in this. It's strange. So my advice would be, when your players start walking, That's where the monster is. Like, that would be my advice. I would also probably run this game without enough prep, because I can't remember the last time I ran a game fully prepped. That's things that very new and extremely experienced DMs do, where they like set out a big packet that has everybody's names and addresses in it, and they know what's in everyone's pockets. That's either I just started and I'm so nervous, or I've been GMing for 25 years and I know what needs to be in this 15 pages. Yeah. For me, 90% of the time it's, I have written down the important notes, and when the players start following clues, if it's not the direction I thought they would go in, all right, that's where the clues go now. I just pick up my scary mummy and I put him over there. It's not that hard. Okay, interesting. I like both ideas. I like that you just lean into, if the players are failing to take care of it, things get worse. That's the game, brother. So what I'm learning from that is that you are interested in this game having more of a thriller mechanic than a like horror mystery mechanic. The situation will ratchet up tension and get worse, more so than the players will fail and die as a result, right? The players in action gets other people killed, not necessarily them. That's a pretty big shift from what some other systems would kind of do. So I think that is worth noting down, right?
I feel like we're pretty pulpy in this game, and heroes in pulp don't get killed because they didn't do something.
Yeah, I do think that in the long run, it will get them killed.
I think tier like 3, you're just gonna get killed by an invisible stalker you didn't know existed.
And this is where I get into step 2. So I think that gives us a pretty good idea of what a mystery looks like. You're gonna be rolling skills. You guys ready to come up with 25 skills?
Yeah, let's do it on stream. We're gonna name all of them.
We might do a little bit of it on stream today, actually, but just a little, enough that like I want to get some categories down so we get an idea of what people are gonna be rolling. So now you were talking about when characters die. So let's start talking about combat. What does combat feel like in that which looks back? What is the combat experience like?
I think fully make believe, Scout's honor. You just make some stuff up.
This is my question. This is my real question that I actually do have. Are we counting bullets and meters between bad guys and good guys? And do all of our weapons have specific range increments? And like, are we going that granular, which is the norm for D100 horror, is being like, ooh, you are slightly too far, take a like disadvantage die or whatever. And if we're not doing that, how far back is the camera pulling, right? I don't think I want there to be unlimited bullets like that. I have a problem with. But I don't know necessarily when you should run out. I don't know mechanically how we should figure that out.
So I like the system where it's like close, medium, long range. So it's not meters, but it's vibey.
Star Wars. For our viewers out there, we've been diversifying our offerings, and we are going to be having something Star Wars related coming out.
I feel like Monster of the Week does that too.
A lot of systems do. I do when I'm when we're doing like ship combat in D&D. I refuse to use the ship rules. So to me, it's just it's that like engaged short, medium, long range, which is also what we are talking about. The Fantasy Flight now sunken product that much like the Titanic, it crashed into the great iceberg of D&D got really popular in 2015, and a lot of other RPGs took the down slope as a result. Okay. So we like the idea of there just being... So range bands, I do think, helps me understand, right? Range bands, I think, is great. That makes me think that reloading is an action of some kind, right? It takes up a little bit of economy. But we probably aren't counting bullets specifically.
I think it depends on what gun you're using, what weapon.
Well, yeah, of course.
I have a couple of takes. I have a couple of takes that are gonna get me booed out of the chat, but Michael, go ahead. You had like another thing you wanted to say, right?
Oh, not really. Is on the same line. It's like, have it like I'm about to say something that isn't true yet. Make it round based. If you have this type of weapon, you can do this many shot, or like
Yeah.
you can use it this many times
So,
before you need an action of.
this
But I
was-
don't know if we're doing rounds.
So this was one of my questions. Was my first thought was, instead of having like this type of gun, this type of gun, this type of gun, we have like pistol big 6 shots, pistol medium 10 shots, pistol small 12 shots, and you pick and put whatever you want in that. If you want to go be a nutcase and look up what specific weapon you want to have, that's great. But it's biggin, median, littlin. And we do the same for most of the other things as well. Spencer, you have a controversial take.
So
You're
here's
itching
what
to
I'm
say.
thinking. Controversial take on bullets and reloading. This is a brand new invention from my own mind. Don't tell me in chat if I'm wrong. I think
I might
when
know.
you shoot a gun in this game, you should roll a specific die, and if it comes up a certain number, you have to take an action to reload. If it doesn't come up, you can keep shooting. Small gun,
Right.
maybe it's like a D20 or whatever. Medium gun, it's a D12, then a D8. It gets more likely that you have to do a reload action when you do it. That feels pulpier to me than going, I've got 3 shots left. It's like, you don't know how many. You're shooting a monster a bunch.
The problem is I hugely disagree with you.
I think it's so
I think
fun.
it's pulpier to be like, I've only got 2 bullets. Like, that feels more pulpy to me. I don't know. Here's the thing. I like that if somebody has like a submachine gun, because I don't want you to count the 31 bullets or whatever that you have, right? That seems silly. How can we
Personally, I would do away with tracking it at all. But that's because I don't like keeping track of those things when I play games. That's not because I think it's a bad design mechanic.
I just still want it. I don't want this to just be a pure pulp game. Like, I think we've agreed that we want it to be pulpy, but if we lean too far in that direction, we have just made like an action game where horror is in lowercase down in the corner. I'm willing to sign off on that for some items, but not all of them. What I think I would be inclined to say is guns that do a lot of damage have a number of bullets that you have to count. You need to know. Like, you need to know what you have left. And if you run out, that sucks. I hope you have some in your bag or whatever. And then I think if you go down to the, like, I have a 22 pistol with 30 rounds in it, it's like, okay, roll a d6 at the end of every round. If you ever get a 1, it clicks and you are out of rounds. It will inevitably lead to a problem for some players where they have 19 rounds sequentially of not rolling the 1. I think my solution to that would be one of the sides of the combat should be dead in 5 rounds.
Yeah. So it probably won't even really come up.
So that's
I think that's fun.
So I think okay, so let's talk about this a little bit then. So if we do have some version of reloading, we could do, right, to my mind, Spencer, this is where I'm gonna have to kind of lean on you a little bit here. To my mind,
Oh no.
there are 6 type of gun.
Okay.
There's gun you hold in one hand.
Yeah.
There's gun you hold in one hand. You shoot it, it hurts the other thing, but it probably doesn't stop it unless you have a really big one that it hurts to shoot.
Yes.
Gun type number 2 is you hold it in 2 hands and it shoots so slow, but do stop things. Type number 3 is you hold the gun in 2 hands, it shoot fast. These are great to have, but are illegal, and that's the obstacle.
Yep.
We're pretty good so far. Number 4, all shotguns.
Yeah.
Every shotgun ever.
They shoot pretty quick and they damage really bad.
Shotgun. Number 5, wacky, but it's not an RPG yet. This is like your anti-material rifle. This is your like
turrets.
combat, like this is like your fully automatic shotgun Bernelli nonsense. Something that you're like, where did you get that? How do
got
you
this from a
have
lab.
this?
Yeah.
And then 6 is it explodes after I shoot it.
Special.
Do you feel like
Explosive.
is there anything not in there?
There's extremely long range. That's the only thing where it's like
So
a
it's not-
full-blown sniper rifle.
So you view
I
that
would
as
put it
different than
separate.
two-hand slow.
Different than two-hand slow. Two-hand slow, I'm thinking like a hunting rifle, like kind of a carbine. But sniper rifle is kind of its own thing. I'd throw that under special with explosives, because you can be a mile away on a building, in the same way you can be really far with an RPG and do a lot of damage.
It's funny. I don't know where I put LMG in that list.
Special. Like a light
Yeah.
machine gun is special. It's like,
Yeah.
where did you get that? How do you have that?
It's so illegal, it's crazy.
Okay.
We have reasonable weapons that a regular person could
So
have.
we've actually
we
got
have reasonable weapons like a member of law enforcement could have, and then we have unreasonable weapons. That's the 3 categories.
So we have 3 categories and we have 5 items in total. So for those of you who have missed D100 Horror, we're trying to figure out some rules. Right now we're trying to figure out how combat works, and we've stopped in, okay, how do weapons work? Because that's going to be a huge part of the fantasy for people, right?
Yeah.
So category 1 is, you can have this with pretty minimal explanation of how. And that is one-handed guns, two-handed slow guns, and shotguns. It's like, yup, all 3 of those, if you say, I have one in the trunk of my car, great. If you get pulled over in the adventure, there might be some friction, but it's not unrealistic for you to, in response to that, pull your paperwork out of your glove box. It will just have your
It's
real
your gun.
government name on it, and that might cause its own trouble. Tier 2 is, and that's your, I'm going to just put 2-hand fast. That's like, oh, I have, I don't know what that would be. A good example of that would be like, if you had if you have an AK in your car, you better have a reason if you get pulled over. You better have a cool reason why you have that.
Yeah, we're talking M16 with the semi-auto burst.
It's like,
You're not all whoa, that's military.
That's weird.
It's supposed to only have single fire.
why do you have that?
Where'd you get that?
I would say I would actually lump that in with like tactical single fire scout rifle. I think that would also make a cop looking through your trunk go, whoa, like
What are you
hands up,
planning?
big step. Because if they pull out a hunting rifle, they're going to be like, oh, and put it back.
Yeah.
If they pull that out, they're going to be like, where did you say you were going? Like,
Yeah.
where are you coming from? Wild. And then tier 3 is special. This is hard to get, hard to have. You have not that much ammunition for it, and if anybody sees you with it, they are gonna just start to run. Like they're gonna be like,
Yeah,
"What?"
or arrest you.
Immediately.
Just bring you to
Yeah.
the hooskow.
So, okay, so we have kind of some rough categories, and then I think each would basically just have. I think each of the base mechanics, so like pistol, 2-hand slow, and shotgun, would have 3 kind of versions. The first one is we're counting bullets because you have 6. It's an easy number to count. You can count it on your fingers, right? It's easy. Tier 2, I'm tempted to say is like a D4. You roll a D4. If you ever roll a 1, you need to reload. Just because I don't think it makes a lot of...
Yeah.
I think D6 isn't going to happen as frequently as we
It's a
think. Let's
little
get some
high.
dice out. Get some dice out. Let's see what the vibe is. I'm going to just roll a D4 until I get a 1.
Four.
Yeah, let's see what happens. All right. All right, first round, take a shot. I immediately have to reload. That's hysterical. It clicks. Oh, you pull it out. Yeah, I think on a 1 it either jams or you need to reload. Who knows? Combat mechanics for a horror game. Sorry, everybody. Just try to keep posted as people roll in. All right, rolled again. We're fine. Reload. Okay, I'm sold.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Now my question is, after that, do we take one small step up to the D6 to see if you need to reload? Or do we kick it fully to the D8?
I think D6. I think that's still pretty reasonable.
Great. I
Wait,
just
what
rolled
weapon
4
is this
1s in a
for?
row.
Okay.
That's just
Well,
unlucky.
Hey, what's going on with this dice, huh?
Do we want to program in a rule that it can't be back-to-back reload misfires?
I don't think so. I think you
Fair
can,
enough.
like, click, you run out of bullets. Reload, click, misfire. You have like a chimney block, and you're like, oh no. Spend an action unjamming it. Roll again. 1. You hear a like. I think if you roll 3 in a row, you hear a snap.
Yeah.
And
You
you
start
now,
yelling for somebody to throw you a different
yeah,
weapon.
and you
You're
now
like,
have
"Please."
you have a hammer in your hand. Like, you don't have a
Yeah.
functioning weapon anymore.
That's funny.
Okay. So
Someone
that's
is
for
using
your
their seeker on you.
yeah, your pistol, your 2-hand slow, and your shotgun. Category 1 is we're counting bullets. Category 2 is roll a d4. Category 3 is roll a d6. 2-hand fast. I want to reward players putting themselves in danger. So I'm tempted to say that all 2-handed fast weapons have the d8.
What do we put in two-handed? Like that's a sword, right? Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm
two-handed
thinking
fast.
of,
we're only in
extremely close. I'm thinking.
yeah,
range.
we're only in firearms right now. 2-hand fast
yeah.
just means it is a like any genre of assault rifle, carbine, submachine gun.
Yeah.
It's something that you can buy, but you might have to buy it illicitly,
Yeah.
right? It's like you can use it. It's just if anybody it would take somebody hearing it for there to be twice as much of a problem, right? If you're in New York City walking down the street and you hear pop, 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 you go, whoops, and turn. You like
Go
go
that way.
into the Chinese food place next door and they go and give you a thumbs up and they shut the door and you go, I'm going to wait 10 minutes. And then you keep walking home. If you hear, you go, oh no. Like, you go inside and the person isn't there. And then they wave you into the back room and you're just hanging out in City
Yeah.
Walk, just sitting, going, how's it going? Are you guys having a good day? Like,
Be here
for
for a
an
minute.
hour while you wait for whatever is going on to settle down. Special, it sounds like is either counting or roll a d10, right?
I think it's counting. Special is just you have it, but you've got 2 RPGs. That's it.
I guess my
Oh, it
question,
works.
yeah, the only question is, what if somebody does go, what if somebody does break into a military depot and walk out with a, like,
Then congratulations.
Congrats.
with a, like,
You did it.
You won. I applaud the team that does that.
But my thing is,
would.
my counterpoint is I can just very easily see us wanting somebody from the tower to show up with one and somebody getting off a lucky shot and saying, I pick it up.
Yeah.
What do you say then? Like, what do you say next as the keeper? Do you say, you have congratulations, you have found Excalibur? Hello, Dr. Quack. We're talking about how we want firearms to work in a D100 horror system. Right now, we know that we've got some, like, the light arms that you could go buy. You're either going to be counting the bullets if it's something big and scary, or you're going to roll a die to see when you reload. In category 2, we have things where it's like, how did you get that? You roll a much luckier die, but if somebody sees you with it, there's going to be friction. And now we're talking about special, which is like, what do you do if somebody gets a chain gun? What do you do if somebody, like, if you put a helicopter with a minigun in one of your games, not thinking, and then you have the guys get out of the helicopter, and you're like, cool. And then one of your players sneaks onto the helicopter, and you go, what are you doing on there? And they go, I go to the mounted gun you just described. And you go, I did, didn't I? I did describe that. And I didn't describe him like taking it with him, because you can't. What do you say next?
Here's my answer. You can't physically carry more than a handful of RPG. You got like 3 or 4 on your back. If everybody else has one, cool, you've got a bunch. They're also fighting, so everybody has to take their actions to give you more RPG rounds to make it usable. Nobody can be close to the enemy.
Yeah.
Same thing with the minigun. You just can't bandolier too much. So I'm not worried really about a character having like infinite rounds on any special item, because it just won't work. You can't be permanently armed to the teeth. You get your amount of rounds. It might be like 8 RPGs at the limit, and then that's it.
I'm more interested in what we do if somebody picks up a light machine gun off a member of the tower they have just killed. If they just pick it up off the ground and now they have like a scar or something.
Yeah.
Do they roll a d10? Or do you count ammunition and it's, you can shoot this gun 5 times? That doesn't mean you're going to pull the trigger once. That's how many times you get to point it at something and try to make it not be there anymore.
I think that's the answer I'd go with. I don't really want the LMG to get locked up. That feels a little more annoying. You've got the special item. The special item's going to go off. But it's limited. You can press the button 5 times.
The only special weapon that I'm thinking about that'd be kind of weird is like flamethrower.
I think that's the same. Like, you can use this 5 times, and then you can't use it another time. Like, it's you squeeze it, and whatever is there isn't there anymore, and you just gotta hope whatever it is can be burned. Like, that's just, hey man, good luck. I hope that works out for you. So now my next question is, do we want to reward or punish people for thinking they can fight Cthulhu with a sword? In Call of Cthulhu, we don't necessarily punish people. In fact, rules-wise, trying to kill Cthulhu with a sword is kind of a good idea sometimes, because you get to roll to dodge and like fight back. All of a sudden you have a bunch of options if you get up in a melee with people. I don't agree with that choice. I understand why they do it, because it's part of the fantasy, right? To like grab the cultist with the dagger and wrestle them to the ground and pull the knife out of their hands. I don't know how sold I am on that being a good idea. So my inclination would be to say ranged combat is very deadly, right? In real life, and therefore in the game. It's like, hey, that's scary. The players shouldn't be Rambo. They should be like hiding, moving from cover to cover, trying to outsmart the enemy. Getting into melee combat with any kind of unearthly thing is that moment where you're like, you guys keep going, and turn to run and absolutely go die. That's my inclination, but I'm down to be disagreed with. The game's a little pulpy. I don't know. Like Spencer 1 second ago was like, you mean like a sword? So I can tell you've got him on the brain. You've already started to think
They're
like,
on there.
what if I get a Zweihander from the museum? What then?
I think it is super stupid to use the weapons that way. I could see there being a trait.
I hear it. I can hear it in the back of your voice. I can hear the.
Makes it possible.
But
because like there were old knights back in the day that did fight Cthulhu with swords, and then they named themselves the Tower.
Oh, that's true.
So like, we've set up in the world that there is a way for it to work. I don't know how it would work, but I think most people, you shouldn't do it. I think maybe there's a couple that can.
Okay, so hear me out then. I have a pitch. Fighting something when you have a two-handed sword in your, if you're like, makes sense if you are wearing armor.
You're fully kitted. Yeah.
So what I'm tempted to say, because I think it's also true in real life a little bit, is I think that like hitting somebody with a bat does an incredible, or like a sword or whatever, does a lot of damage. You are just also exposed to that level of damage.
Just
like,
so much damage.
There's not going to be as much dodge mechanic in this game, because it's like, hey man, it's a sword. Like, if you said, hey Ethan, would you rather, there's a guy over there, and they point to a dude. He's never fired a gun or swung a sword before. Would you like him to try to shoot you one time, or try to hit you with a sword one time? I would say try to shoot me every day of the week. I'd be like, maybe I can get away. But if he takes one wild swing with a broadsword, my best case scenario is permanent injury. Like my ideal world is, it's like my leg is off at the knee.
Can I tell you right now, my first character in this would be like a Ren Fair aficionado who has a full kit of armor that's like period accurate and stuff, so he can use the Zweihander. I am just putting that out there because that would be the character I play. It would be very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
And
like that.
the other thing I was thinking about is like, I feel like melee stuff isn't super effective unless you have the strength to back it up. And so we're talking about the people that are already high high amount of strength, and then you're getting to the people that are like, what's our knight that's
Beyond
100
80.
strength? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's probably a melee user.
So just to recap that rule, right? Humans, our scale goes from 1 to 100. Humans exist between like 15 and 75. Getting to 1 in any stat is hard to even imagine. Like imagining a creature with a 1 in strength, it would be like what are those little fish? Those little bears that can survive in space, like the little tiny, you know what I mean?
Tardigrades.
Tardigrade is
yeah.
like, yeah, 1 strength, 100 con. It's like it can survive in the vacuum of space, but it can do nothing. Like it cannot interact with the world. So the strongest person in the world, Brian Shaw, has a 75. He is the limit of human might. Going beyond that, right? So then what I'm going to say is I think that melee weapons in this horror game have the trained trait. You must be trained in this weapon to use it. If not, it's not going to do a lot for you. So
What I
that's
like is this
Go ahead.
unique setup is fun because the Cthulhu monsters want to get in your face. They're not using guns. They're going to be doing massive damage if they pull that off, just like you will if you're trained with a sword. You want to keep them at a distance, they want to close that gap, because when they do, you're going to get clobbered. So keep in a distance unless you're a Zweihander wielding knight.
It also invites the fun of a character being like, okay, because some nonsense that I would pull is I would be like, I look up if there are any conservatories in the area, and you could be like, why? And I'm going to be like, I'm going to see if anybody has a bear suit. And you could be like, what? And I'm going to be like, they make special suits for people that need to get close to grizzly bears. I'm going to see if I can find a bear suit. And then you just have a big two-handed sword and a bear suit. And you're just like, all right, hey, the guy with the mercenary background. Don't shoot me, please. And then you run in.
Don't
like, I guess we'll see what happens. Okay. I have another very important combat question. In real life, and I have terrible news to the people in chat now and in the future, I'm sorry to have to break this to you. There's no such thing as non-lethal damage. It's not real even a little. If you hit someone in the head so hard that they don't wake up, they're dead. Or going to die or never be the same. When people get knocked
wake up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, when people get knocked unconscious, it is for 1 set. They go down, they come back up, and they are surprised that they are back up. If they're unconscious for any longer than that, that's a coma, and you need to take them to the hospital. They are dying right now. In this game,
Correct.
are we allowing the silly world of unconsciousness to exist? Or is it... Or when this famously happened in one of our campaigns, we had a Stefan, who you will know from The Party Makes Things Worse, tried to hit somebody to knock them unconscious. I said, okay, that's not really how the game works. And he went, I think my character would think that that would work. And I went, okay. And he killed the guy. Like, he hit him, brought his HP to 0, and he died. The only version of it I could see is I guess you could, like, fight someone to the point that they are so exhausted that they cannot do anything, right? I don't know how to sort of capture that, mainly because that takes forever. Humans have adrenaline and an adrenal system, so doing that is something that movies say, like, it's been 2 rounds, he's getting slow, and in real life, those kinds of boxing matches are like, round 12, it's been 40 minutes, you know? How do we,
So
where are we
the
at
fun
on this
thing-
spectrum here?
The fun thing is, sometimes we're fighting people. We're not always fighting people. They might have low
fighting
endurance.
monsters.
We're fighting monsters.
Yeah, they're all muscle but no tendon. Personally, I think we should leave unconsciousness, but limit it so massively that it's like, yeah, you can knock out like the human mayor you need to talk to, but it needs to be limited to unarmed combat, so you can punch him into unconsciousness. You bring out a baseball bat to deal more damage to do it faster? No, you don't. You'll kill that man with a baseball bat. You can punch him unconscious, and then you can try and talk to him. I feel like that's pulpier, but it's not so pulpy as to be like, and then I knocked him out and I grabbed him. It's like, it'll take a little while
So you
to knock him unconscious.
So here's my... Go ahead, Michael.
I I'm okay with not having unconsciousness and being like straight up grapple. Like you are trying to stop this person from moving just in any way.
Yeah, choke them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even choking out isn't it's unconscious for a second.
So let's
but
assume
come
we're
back.
gonna. So let's assume we're gonna have rounds. So you knock somebody unconscious, and they are unconscious for 1 round. And what I think actually happens,
That's fair.
You knock somebody unconscious. They roll. We're gonna have to talk next about what dice we're using. Let's assume
Yeah.
we're D100. You knock somebody unconscious. I think they roll a D100. If they roll a 1 through a 40, they die. You check their pulse and they're dead. You broke their neck. They died. If you roll a 41 through a 100, they are unconscious for 1 round. And I think the next time you knock them unconscious, it is a 50-50 shot. And I think the next time it's 60-40. I think it like drastically worsens the more you do it.
I like that rule. I think that should also apply to the players.
Yeah, of course it does.
I like that rule.
I just don't think a lot of bad guys are going to want to knock the players unconscious.
No. I like it. I was gonna say 25 and then 50 and then 75.
Oh,
%
sure. I
chance
like
of
that.
Killing.
All right, so non-lethal.
Somewhat non-lethal.
Brawl.
Less than lethal.
1 round. 25% lethality.
Yep.
25% lethal. Up to.
It gives you enough
50,
time to throw
up
somebody
to
in like the trunk of a
75.
car. You
And-
squeal up, hit him in the head, and you throw him in the trunk and you drive off.
Yeah, it gives you enough time to like slap a pair of handcuffs on, and there you go. And I think that, maybe we can attach some other check to it, but I think that's pretty good. Okay, and so that's 90% of combat down right there. We've got range increments, which are just short, medium, it's engaged, medium, far, right? We should do we probably will do something almost perfectly analogous to the system we're talking about. We'll do engaged, short, medium, long, right? It's like either they're up in your face and it's going to be very difficult to do what you want to do. They're a little further and it's like, okay, if you've got one hand or shotgun, you're in great shape. If they're medium, it's like 2-hand fast, you're in the sweet spot. If they're far, special, 2-hand long, great job. You did it. This is going to be easy for you.
I forgot to give my other hot take, and that's we should use the distance bands. I think that they should be a little loose. It should be approximately 50 yards, or, what have you. Where it's like, it's not like, yep, he's exactly 150 feet away, so that means that he's just outside your range band. It's like, you can play a little fast and loose with the ranges. Just a little bit. There's some give and take. They get a little bit closer, they can shoot him. They're like, how far away is he? And it's like, you move up a little bit, you're going to be in close, but it's not going to take an action or anything. That's my take on it, is that it shouldn't be like 150 yards as far.
I agree. And I think that in a cluttered, in an urban setting, I think people count as being 1 range increment further. So there kind of is no short range because there's always something for them to get behind. Only because I'm not sure I want to do cover.
Yeah, I think that works.
For a pulpy thing, I
cover's
just don't think we're going to be spending a lot of time behind cover. We can figure out, I think a dodge or caution mechanic is way more fun because you get to roll more dice. I'd much rather a character get to roll to dodge, and that is how you narrate somebody diving behind a building.
That's taking cover, yeah.
Instead of being like, well, I take my first action to take cover and then I wait. All right, I use my second action in my second round to step out of cover and fire a single shot. I'm not sold. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and now I only have one other major combat question, so we're actually moving pretty good here. When you fight a monster in person, what's the over/under on dying?
Depends on tier.
What's the over/under on dying?
Yeah. I think that it gets so exponentially worse. Fighting tier 1, you're probably gonna win. it's balanced for you to win number 1 and get a bunch of benefits. Just like we're like, oh, when you lose ignorance, you're gonna get benefits tagged onto it. Same way, you kill Sasquatch, you're gonna feel great. You're gonna move on to the next level, and it's gonna be way worse.
I'm gonna make just the smallest shift in the world. A combat-oriented character should be able to take out the cryptid very easily. I think a normal person is absolutely screwed in this situation, right? They are in so much trouble right away. All right, so let's kind of sort here. I just want to get an idea of how dangerous we're talking, right? I am not going to bother writing tier 5 because it's just not worth writing down.
That's 100% lethality.
Yeah. So we have Cryptid, Elder, Outsider, Void, and then the secret other tier, People.
Humanman.
Is Humanman. So here's I have one question. So fighting a Cryptid, a combat character, a combat PC should be good to go. Should be like, you can handle this. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. If it gets its hands on you, you're going to be dude jelly. You're going to be a splat. Is taking on a combat oriented character harder or easier than fighting the Sasquatch? So I think it's obviously like normal guy is easier than Cryptid. Yeah. There's a man on the street, you knock him to the ground, you got this. Then it's Cryptid. Is fighting a combat-oriented person harder than fighting a Cryptid? Or is it on par?
I think it comes down to preparation. Fighting Sasquatch prepped. You're prepped. Sasquatch doesn't prep. That's not what Sasquatch or Cryptid.
Not power ranking.
We're power scaling our enemies right now. I think that it's easier to fight Sasquatch while you're prepped than it is to fight like an enemy soldier who's prepping for you to appear. Sasquatch doesn't plan. You can get up in the trees, and when he walks past, you can shoot him a bunch and he dies. That operator's going to be tracking the trees and have a laser sight on you. So the combat-oriented enemy is going to be harder to defeat. But if you get the jump on either one, it'd probably be pretty similar.
Okay, so fighting an unprepared normal person is like fighting the Sasquatch.
Yes.
Fighting a prepared one is harder, but not as hard as fighting elders, the sort of strangeness. Yeah. Okay, so on this scale then of Cryptid, Elder, Outsider, Void, where do specialized combat groups like the Tower fall in? Like, how deadly is running into a small group of the Tower? Like a team of 5?
This is like tier 3 shit. And if you really get the hammer brought down, like they're doing a mission and you're in it, you're talking tier 4. You gotta go. You're not gonna beat the Tower.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right. That gives me a pretty good idea of what we're talking about here. So we've kind of like unprepared versus prepared on the scale. And then the Tower is up at like outsider level. That's oops. Like, you know, you've made an error. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Okay. So we have a little bit of an idea. And then when does engaging in combat become foolish? Like, when should you run? It doesn't seem like you need to run from the Cryptid, right? No. You might need to run from like the prepared character, but you might not be able to. And if you can't, a perfectly valid option is find cover, catch your breath, make a plan. When is the strategy run? Right now, it looks like it might be tier 3, which is earlier than I would have thought. I would have thought it would be tier 4, but looking here, it's like, hey man, if tier 3 shows up, 90% chance you need to just immediately book it away.
This is where the preparation thing comes in again. Tier 3 unprepared, run. You're not going to figure your way out of it. You need to run and regroup a town over, and then figure out how to deal with the threat. But tier 3 prepared, you're still meant to fight tier 3. You just need to know the secrets necessary to beat its ass.
Yeah. I think an unprepared tier 2's even gonna be fairly lethal.
It's a problem.
I want you,
Unprepared tier 2, you are probably going to lose a guy.
we are deep in the drift right now. Let me find it. In tier 3, for our description from what we came up with last time, the screams start immediately. So for the record, this is the creature that can create horrible sound that like lures people to it like an anglerfish. The screams start immediately. Parishioners who believed that they would receive promised power or deeper truth discover that sometimes the light is not a glimpse of eternity, but the siren song of an angler waiting for the chance to claim new prey. Whatever that thing is, it's out. Your friends... notes delve into the science of noise canceling, and so you hope the town here has bodies enough to keep the creature occupied, and you speed off to the next town.
Yep.
The sun has set and begun to dawn.
So funny.
The sun has set and begun to dawn again when you return, trunk laden with speakers and wires galore. You hoped for some primal dirge about the dying of the light, but a well-played share CD will just have to do. So we are on the same page. Tier 3 is where it's like, okay, we need to leave and regroup. What about the thing? It's rampaging. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That makes it seems like it's going to take it a while to finish rampaging, right? Like
That's why we're leaving. It's
You know what?
rampaging.
What feels like tier 3, like Godzilla. Godzilla's a good tier 3.
You need to be so
think.
prepped. You need to be so prepped for Godzilla. But you can do, if you know what you're doing, you got the right resources, you can handle it.
Hear me out. 2000s, like 1995 to 2009 Godzilla is tier 3.
Yep.
We're not talking Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no.
2015 plus tier 4 is like hard
Yeah.
tier 4 is oh no, CGI has gotten too good. Godzilla's
Yep.
too strong. Now weirdly, Godzilla from the 70s that was just a guy in a suit, also tier 4. He seems to be able to do some real wacky stuff.
Anything.
I-
Where would King Kong fall? I would put him way upper tier 2.
Yeah.
That's honestly my
Which
call
King
track, way
Kong
upper
are we
tier
talking
2.
about also?
Modern King Kong.
Like, the one that fought Godzilla, or...
No, I'm talking like
I'm
the
thinking
King
like
Kong individual.
I'm thinking like the
movie.
Jack Black
Skull
movie.
Island. Yeah, Jack Black movie, or the most recent, not the most recent, the one right after that,
The
where the CGI
where
was
Bryan
pretty good.
Cranston seemed like he was going to be an important character, and then he lived for 30
Yeah.
minutes in the movie. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about
That's an Aaron Taylor Johnson flick, I believe. Okay,
Yeah,
I see
so
the vision.
that, I think he's upper tier 2.
I still feel like he's tier 3, but
I-
way lower.
I just don't
Way,
think
way
you need
lower.
special prep to kill him.
I just feel like a big missile
Personally.
launcher. Yeah, I feel like if you had the
Yeah.
right thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if you hit King Kong with a big truck.
Yeah. Or really, you drop a building on him just right, he'll die.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
You know what? Here's what I'll
Sorry
say.
for all of our chatters who are hearing this and being like, "That's not true."
I just
I don't care.
if that's what you think, you're wrong. Here's my thing. There's a reason that we always have to set King Kong movies either on distant islands where people are unprepared or in 1945. Right? We either have to set it in the 1930s so that all you have is a biplane, so that it's like so it makes kind of sense that King Kong isn't immediately dead from bullets. He might be dying from bullets, but then he falls and the fall is what kills him. Is because if we set it now, a Hellfire missile would it would be immediately
one
over.
explosion.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you need to set your Godzilla adventure before the invention of the 50 caliber rifle, because otherwise it's a short adventure.
There's no special weapons in the King Kong game.
I would say he's maybe like really low tier 3.
I could see it, but
It's like that in between.
So
I
we've
feel
got
like
our
you can argue
power
either way.
scaling.
Okay.
We've got it scaled.
And tier 3 is where you start to be like, "Ugh, like this is getting
Yeah.
bad."
We
Okay,
need
cool.
to think.
All right, I like that. I think that that's a lot of the key mechanical things kind of figured out as far as how that works, right? We know roughly what it looks like to use a weapon. We have a little bit of an idea of how range band works and just how likely you are to survive and how prepared you should be. Because as a whatever, we've come up with a couple of names for our sort of GM, DM keeper, right? It's good to be like a tier 1 creature. When you write out the stats, you should the math should math. right? We're still kind of in D&D territory. At the end, you should be like, I think they can handle it. Tier 2, they should be able to deal with it, but it should be very difficult. Like, you can kind of step outside. Tier 3 and up. Tier 3 is like, hey man, go kind of crazy. They should need to plan. You can get a little silly. Tier 4, man, dude, do whatever you want. Just roll number. Just say numbers. Like, you're going to be fine. If they get there, it's because they did a bad job somewhere else, right? It means that something else has kind of failed.
I do have one more question about combat.
Yep.
How does secrets and occult and I'll say the word magic. I don't know if we have magic.
We do.
Secrets?
That's the secrets give you
Yeah.
magic.
How's
They're
that working?
individualized.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we would make a list of like incantations, like secrets that you can use, and then it's develop your own from this system.
yeah, I think we should come up with a couple of examples, and I think there should be genres of secrets, and I think one of them should be flash and bang. Should be, this is a damaging, this is Sith, like Force lightning, and it has some ranges. I think we described secrets as being something where you roll a die to see how well you can use them, and that decides the level of success. I think that a good roll is like having a special weapon. It's like having an RPG. It's okay, I rolled an 89 and everybody stands up and they're like, you what? And it's like, yeah, exactly. Unlimited. Like, it's okay, huge. It's a game changer right away. I think a middling result is like having a cool gun.
Yeah, it's just badass.
It's just like, whoa, that was cool. Not necessarily like way more lethal. I think if you roll bad, you hurt yourself. Like, I think it's really quite bad.
You lose control, somebody gets frayed, like it's all good. And then you've got like healing magic and stuff like that.
My next question, I don't know if we should talk about it on stream, was do we want to talk about how damage works? Like, how much punishment can a person take versus how much punishment can a creature take? Is it like, do guns do like 4 to 8 damage and people only have like 6 to 12 health? And so most of the time, if you shoot someone with a gun, they die? Or do people have 2 health? And if you get hit with a weapon, it either does 1 or 2 damage.
I think option 1, just because people like big number.
God, I love big number.
Yeah, and then we can get funky with like armor with soak.
You soak, yeah.
Okay.
And then monsters with different soak amounts.
And then another common theme of D100 horror. So we'll figure out, it sounds like damage we're going to keep to what it usually roughly is. We don't need to talk about it much more. How do we feel about the concept of the lethality rating? Which is to say, if somebody shoots something at you, there is a chance that you just die.
I nix it. I don't like that.
Okay. So for example,
Not pulpy.
in Delta Green, if a gun has a lethality rating, the first thing you do is just roll that. And if you succeed on it, the thing you're shooting at is dead. It has died because it got shot. And now it's dead because of the bullet holes in it. I think it's very realistic. Maybe a little too realistic, it sounds like Spencer thinks.
Yeah. Because if I shoot, like the tower shoots Steve, my character, one time and I get killed, I am going to be a little upset in my Cthulhu game.
I will say the odds of that are still kind of astronomically high. Are we trying to avoid that? Are we trying to avoid, like, single action death?
Yes, for PCs. Human men have 4 to 6 HP in my mind, and they're probably going to get killed by a gun. You've got armor soak, you've got a little elevated health, you're probably not going to get killed after getting shot by 1 bullet.
I forgot about something, and I'm very excited. I think this is where we enter into my favorite system for every RPG that has it. Luck! Do we have luck? How does luck work?
Is it like Devil's Bargain type luck? You can make something not happen, but now there's going to be a free coin for the keeper to use.
So there's a couple of luck options here, and I kind of love all of them. So let's just kind of go down the list of how luck tends to work. Number 1 is an optional rule for Call of Cthulhu that's pretty popular and that I think whips ass, which is you have a luck skill. It is from 1 to 100. When you generate your character, you roll to see how lucky of a person you are. you can, and throughout the game, you can say like, I want to look, are the keys in the glove, like, are the keys in the window thing of the car? And it's like, roll luck. If you roll above your stat, yeah, the keys fall into your lap. If you roll below it, no, they don't. The optional rule is you can spend luck to turn failures into successes. So if you have a luck of 85 and you roll a 15 to get out of the way of getting shot at, but you needed a 10, you can burn some of your luck away to succeed. And then the next step in that is maybe you get to roll every once in a while to get some luck back. I'm kind of tempted to say, hey man, you're burning it. You know, the luck's going away. So that's option 1. Option 2 is get out of jail free card. This is what Monster of the Week does. And it's, okay, there will be a consequence, but you can just say, no, I did not fail. No, that weapon, that damage was not enough to kill me. It is just, I'm barely alive. You spend 1, something terrible happens immediately, but the immediate consequence didn't happen. And then tier 3 is the kind of like, you know, Genesis system version, which is, I have a luck token, I slide it to the keeper. I spend it, I slide it to the keeper, I survived. The keeper goes, great. The creature bursts through the wall, he slides it right back. And we're kind of constantly spending those points back and forth. That's 3 luck systems I really like. So you have a battery of luck that you are draining, and there's no consequences for draining it other than the fact that you are running out. Option 2 is, there is a luck system. The consequences for using it are fairly large. Once you run out, you're dead. Like, that means you will die very soon. So you run out of luck over here, just roll well. You run out of luck here, it's over, dude. Like, it's done. The keeper's going to kill you, like, on purpose. And then we have trading. It pushes back and forth.
I think, and I've got a reason for this, I like the third option for this game specifically, even though I like the first option better. The first option being burning points, or second, whatever, burning points, and it goes away forever. Trading back and forth, I think works best because I hate that in Monster of the Week, we have to, like, make up our own optional rules for how luck works because we do so many one-shots. This game feels like it could be a fun one-shot system, like we just do some random adventures in it. But if my character has 86 luck that I can burn, I'm going to go insane for the one session we're playing. So I don't like that. I like that we give it back and forth. It's also more narratively and pulp dynamic in my mind to do that. You push it over here, the thing bursts through the wall, I push it back over to you. That's just fun for me in a narrative sense, so I like the third option the best.
We should absolutely sell my patented Monster of the Week 3 luck system, which I think is perfect for one-shots. The 3 luck system is... It's wonderful. I've actually been in the background, because we have one coming up, been working on a... because they have team playbooks now. I was thinking for one-shots, you have a party pool of 5 luck.
That's fun.
But it also begs the question: when it runs out, is the entire party dead?
Is everybody doomed?
My answer would be yeah. My answer would be my current theory answer, as I've been working on it very slowly in the background just for fun, is when you spend the 5th luck, the town can still survive. The party just can't. Right?
I have an idea for the point system where it goes back and forth.
Sure.
For this, and it's. The party starts with all of the points, whether it's like 5 or 3 or whatever the number is. They start with all of them. So like light side points have the max, and then they burn them to do things. But if you get to like 10 p.m. and then midnight or dusk and then dawn, whatever, when you get to those levels, you lose one and it goes to the keeper, and you lose another and it goes to the keeper automatically, and it can't be sent back. To enforce that you should be solving the mystery. If you don't, you're just going to be in a worse situation at the end. Do you know, I'm sort of explaining it strangely, but do you know what I mean?
I'm getting there. Keep going.
So, if you solve the mystery really quick and you can go fight Bigfoot, you've got a bunch of points in your pocket that you can burn during the combat to keep you alive and keep you safe. If you don't solve the mystery, the points go to the keeper, and they cannot be regained by you until the end of the adventure. So the countdown clock system gets enforced via that mechanic.
I like it. My only concern, the only logistical problem I see is it invites power gamers to just use all of the luck on their first 6 checks.
True.
It invites you to be like, great, I failed finding that clue. I burn a luck. And somebody's like, why are you burning one already? And you just go like, the keeper gets one if we take too long. So we should just burn them all in the first part of the adventure, get as much data as we can. You're eventually going to get people that are going to like, oh, I break into the cop's car and steal his gun. And it's like, why? I've got like 6 luck to spend.
No,
so it's like, I try to break into the door. You fail. Spend a luck. All right. I try to reach the gun out. Okay. He looks up to see you. I spend a luck. He doesn't look up. All right. I pull it out. Cool. I take it and I put it in my back pocket. Cool. 2 luck spent. Somebody wasted the other 4 doing some other shit. So all I need is, how do we safeguard against that?
The safeguard, I think, is just the more points the keeper has at the beginning. If they just burn the first 6, it's like, cool. The police see you and now you're being hunted by the PD.
I see what you were saying. I thought you were saying that at the start of the game, the heroes, the seekers, have 5 luck. They spend 1, and it goes to the luck graveyard. If they take too long, it becomes a keeper luck.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So what you're saying is...
It's functioning the normal way, and it goes back and forth. But as the night closes, that pip locks in to the keeper side. So you've got the back and forth mechanic until the time scale goes. And that's like, okay, there's a -1 luck going on.
I still don't understand how that would mechanically work. So the keeper has like an infinite burnable luck?
It's more that the players don't get the luck anymore. It goes to a graveyard. The keepers don't have it. Or the players don't have it to save themselves anymore. And at the end of the night, like if they haven't solved the entire mystery, they have no luck to burn. They have no way of getting it back. They're just kind of cooked.
It's interesting. It kind of, it does make me wonder if we should just pare it down to like there's 1. Or like 3. If the problem is that there's too many, we could just cut the number down to like there's 3 that kind of shifts back and forth between you and the keeper. Just because I don't want a situation where it's like 5 is just so many that it's going to be hard to use up, especially if they're kind of passing back and forth. If we cut it down to 3... we don't need to worry as much about it. There just being too much sitting on one side, because inevitably when they start to spend it, it will become bad luck as well. The only, I guess, light concern I would have is the players just have 3 luck, and my brain would be like, you'd have to pry these luck out of my cold, dead hands. Which is what you're trying to solve for.
These are reserved.
I think the answer to that riddle is combat is really deadly and scary. And so it's like, they'll start spending luck the first time one of them fails and like is going to get shot and die, and they're going to have to roll up a new character. They're going to immediately give up whatever thought they had there. Okay, so we just pare the number down a little bit to 3. And I do like their, it's like a nice round number. I think it makes sense. Okay, so 3 luck, and it kind of trades back and forth.
What you got, Michael?
Small derailment. The engineer's saying hello.
Hello.
He's back, and he has a question for us. He wants us to know, or he wants our opinion on his setting. This is, my fellow DMs, what is thy opinion on my setting?
Elevator pitch.
Whose main powerhouse is a kobold who ate the heart of Bahamut and systematically folded almost every dragon in the world.
Hysterical.
Is very good. I like it very much.
That's the whole setting?
I love it.
That is the setting.
10 out of 10. Perfect setting.
Elevator pitch. Incredible. Kobolds are hilarious. Massive power play there. Look up, if you don't already know about it, Zorvental in like the Forgotten Realms setting. It's the dragon games that happen all the time. I can't get into it because we've only got a few minutes left on stream. Look into it, read up on it, because that would be a really interesting thing to have going on during like the fall. That's all.
Essentially, you could have like a reverse heist where this kobold with infinite power submits himself to the games, knowing that he can basically win every trial no matter what. It's a fun idea. We did something similar on a one shot, I think on stream. I don't remember.
Probably.
Where we had Goblin Thanos. We had an artificer.
Yeah, that was on stream.
We had an artificer goblin who had a belt of he had like a belt of storm giant strength, a headband of intellect. All his stats were like 22 because he just had all of these like really powerful artifacts. So
it was the worst enemy I've ever fought in my life.
It was a goblin with a Vorpal sword and all maxed out
Yeah.
stats. It was disgusting. They played the party suicide squatted. They played monsters. They played like liches and stuff. It was pretty fun. I actually recommend it if people ever want to give it a real silly whirl. Okay, cool. So you kind of trade some luck back and forth. So that's like 90% of the system. I was going to take our last couple of minutes to talk about skills, but we don't have the time, and we should probably talk about the skills off camera anyways. With that being what it is, I think we've got just enough time for a bit, and we haven't done one in, frankly, too long.
Yes. Also, I do need to say, Zorvental is not spelled the way it sounds. It's an X at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not a Z.
You know, in
XOR.
the world
You
of
gotta look it up
D&D,
that way.
I might assume an X.
You might, yeah. But if you look up Zorvental the way it's spelled, it comes up with like Walmart results. So now you know what you're looking for.
What are we doing?
Okay, so a bit. What are we thinking? What do we want to run?
We've got pop culture character creator. We've got you say, they say, I say, and we've got some unused backgrounds. If we want to pop open D&D Beyond, we've got Snake Draft, where we pick a random thing to like draft and pick our favorites. And we got Fight Club, where the three of us pick a monster of the same CR and see who would win the fight. I don't know if we have time to do the CR one, unfortunately.
We don't have time for the CR one. Snake Draft, I'm a little worried about for the first run. I want to do one off stream before we do it on stream.
Oh, I see. We have to
Let's-
prep? All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we can get the flow right. So let's do... Our last one was a pop culture character creator, but I had a really good time with it. Was that Betty Boop?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
we-
pop culture character creator. We haven't done one of those forever.
All right.
So to explain the game, pop culture character creator is very simple. Spencer has a very long list of pop culture characters. When we have just a little bit of time at the end, we roll a die to find one, and then each of the three of us make a pitch on what that character would be in the game Dungeons and Dragons. They get increasingly silly as we continue because we straight up kind of start to run out of
repeats.
ideas. All right.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, roll me a D100 if you get your dice out. All right. I've got one that I'm looking at staring me in the face, and it's 3 characters.
All right.
Oh,
It's
no.
three people, and I'm
Ed,
kinda
Ed, and
looking for
Eddie.
one. I won't tell you, and I won't tell you what the number is.
92.
Whoa.
It wasn't the number.
Deep in the numbers.
All right.
Do it.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Our chili dog loving blue streak of speed. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Dang. That's kind of a fun one.
Now, here's what I'm thinking. I've got my pitch automatically, so you guys can go ahead and do your research. Don't worry about it.
Now we have a fun one where we all get to play a fun game, which is who's going to pick there's always one good objective option, and then the rest of us have to sort of scrounge.
Good, just
Let's see what
nonsense.
Spencer goes with.
I think that Sonic the Hedgehog is a monk
No.
who just burns so many key points on additional speed. He took the mobile feat, so his speed goes up again. And he uses the key points to like wall walk and stuff. Like that's what he does. He does wall walks, he kicks stuff, and he runs fast. So that's what I'm hitting. Is Sonic, he is probably drunken master, I'd say. No. No, he's a monkey.
Drunk
He's
on
not
them
mobile.
chili dogs, man.
Yeah, exactly. So who's up next?
I've got a stupid one.
Yes.
Uh,
They're all going to be stupid now.
It involves a mild amount of homebrew, but just a little. I think that Sonic the Hedgehog is a Circle of Stars druid. Because in all of his games, he's saving
Wait.
woodland creatures. And he can go like Super Saiyan with the Chaos Emeralds. Unfortunately, The new Circle of Stars options are all like, you can shoot arrows really good. I think that he is a Circle of Stars druid, and he has, like, the Speedy, like the Quickling, as one of his constellations, and it is just a speed boost. And he has the mobile feat.
100%, and the Chaos Emeralds are just, like, the stars that he is around. Like, that's the thing. I would argue, better than mine. Better than mine.
Circle of Stars druid.
Michael?
And he's saving critters.
And the critters is a big pull.
I'm just looking at subclasses really quick because I got something.
I have another outside the box pitch. I'll let
Nice.
Michael. I'm not going to steal anything from you right
We'll
now
go for a
because you
bonus-
got the
we'll
dregs.
Go for a bonus 4.
Yeah. I like mine. I think he is an artificer who constantly is casting haste on himself.
I think Miles Tails Prowler is going to have a fucking thing or two to say about that. But
Yeah,
all
Miles
right.
gonna be real upset.
Bro,
He's gonna be pissed.
The rings are just material that he's always trying to get.
Oh, that's fun. The rings are like part of his
He's
artificer
just
nonsense.
collecting them.
Yeah, he's just collecting them to.
The spell component for haste is just rings. Got to get more to go faster.
Yep. He has built himself some boots of speed.
That's it. He's got boots of speed. Period.
And I'm just looking at subclass. Subclass. Probably like armor for his boots of speed.
I see it.
I have a second pitch that I think I like better than my first. He is I don't remember the name. I think Wildheart is the new name. He is a Wildheart Barbarian. Because Wildheart Barbarians take on animal aspects, and 2 of them are just, you get to go fast, and Sonic is nude. He has unarmored defense.
True,
He's
that
just
is
buck
true.
naked, sprinting into people at full speed to do damage. That means he's getting up in the melee. He's not some distance fool. He's running up and like headbutting people to death. So that's my other pitch.
I like that. We got some solid pitches. That's our pop culture character creator.
So, with that, thank you so much for tuning in. Definitely one of our more rules-driven streams. Normally, we like to invite the chat to sort of offer up lore implications that we have to solve. A little harder to do when we're talking about dice and numbers. But this is the only one of these we had to do. So I give it a blessed farewell. We can return to the soft and supple shores of coming up with lore and monsters and fun things in the background. Maybe a couple of skills here and there. We'll see how it goes. I think we probably have 1 or 2 episodes left of DM Writers DM Writers Room. We're canceling. No,
We're retiring.
of our setting here, and then we're gonna move on to other shores. So this is either kind of our penultimate episode, or maybe there's one more after that. Thank you all so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. Peace out.